Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, the Grand Arena focused podcast centered around the top 100 for Kyber 1 in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is the Week 1 episode covering Season 80, 3 versus 3 Grand Arena Championship. I am joined by most of the regular cast. We've got Dagger, TJ, Fatal, and Sasha Aisha couldn't be with us today, feeling a bit under the weather. Get well soon, man. We'll see you next week. But guys, it's a complete dud for me for week one. I had the same unbelievable situation happen to me for this last week that happened to me for the final week of the previous 5 vs. 5 season. It was me and 7 Erodiums. So, pleased to report a 3-0 from the front lines. What did I learn? Zip. I've been able to live vicariously through watching some of you, watching other streamers, working with a couple patrons, and that's really about it. So it's brief. Dagger, how about you?
Yeah, Sasha might be under the weather, but I am over this weather. I went 2-1. Don't look at my defenses at all, please and thank you. Okay, thanks.
And it's because what you locked in with some type of bum situation,
or actually, you know what? After I leave, you can look at my defenses. You can all make fun of me for me not putting Krons down.
Yeah, spoiler, Dagger won't be able to stay on with us today, but at least we've got him in here and we can insult him both before and after he has left.
Yeah.
So it's good. Everyone's a winner. All right. Appreciate you. On to you, TJ. How was your week?
2-1. The one being because of some poopies I made, but also, round one, week one, got to test some stuff, which led me to some of the things we'll talk about, I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right. Fair enough. And Fatal, how about you? How was your week?
2-1 as well. It's a very weird feeling season so far. It's a lot of first timing teams on offense and trying to figure out where things fit. That led to a lot of drops for me, but then my defense is doing extremely well to boot, so yeah, it's been spicy at the very least, but not exactly clean gameplay.
Yeah, it was a first week that, by all accounts, was ripe for experimentation, and there was a lot to be gained in that first week of play. Just checking here on Sasha's history, he had a 2-1 week himself, only one real match versus Mad Mage Nira, and then 2 Erodiums. By the way, for all the folks wondering, my bracket for week 2 is I went 3-0 against Erodiums. It pushed me up into the top bracket. It's me, Sasha, Herbert, Mad Mage Nira, and 4 Erodiums. So we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, we have a lot to talk about here in meta-analysis. Let's get with it. First and foremost, top of the meta, applying our newest area units, the Cassian team. With Cinta and Vel, and let's give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it's with the FDC, which you would assume going into this first week would be the Apex version of the team. I've seen folks using Queen to overwhelm it. Folks get there's so many teams that can kill the sides surprisingly easily, and if you don't have an effective way to deal with Cassian himself, you can just end up timing out. If you're not able to inflict vulnerable, kill him in that window, or otherwise use abilities that say that they're gonna, crit if able, you have a problem. So I don't know. Aside from Queen, guys, what do you have to say about fighting Cassian in this first week?
Well, because people don't set real defenses, I got to use C and JMK respectively.
Well, what about it was, here, I mean, I don't have to wonder. I can just pull it up. But, why do you say that? They set lesser versions? Okay, they set with Chirrut and Baze in round 1.
No, it's that I had GLs available because they didn't set enough teams to draw out enough teams that I just had really strong options left.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like Cassian in the back when you don't draw anything isn't very good.
Yeah, see what you did for 57.
This was a very big season for their 8th strongest team out of 15 was like EDOC. People love posting dog shit this season.
Okay. Well, how about you, Fatal? What do you have to say about fighting Cassian here this first week?
Is this for Sid's version or
You can say whichever, but I'm assuming that the apex threat for this last week was Cintaval with FDC. Yeah.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah, disabuse me of my complete bullshit theory because I have no practical experience myself.
So it's complicated, and the answer is actually that it's kind of up in the air or unsolved.
Agreed.
I can tell you, Cassian Velcinta on defense is ass.
Agreed.
I posted it exactly once. It dies to JMM. It dies to Tarkin. Like it's not good. That shit don't work. I had posted in the first match, like Cassian Bays with Clea with the FTC, just as a way to, in 5v5, Clea does a really good job of just fucking with JMM in the mid game. That felt really good. It was like, wow, Jedi Master Base could get a kill pretty easily, and then the mid game just fell apart. But just due to the nature of it being 3v3, my experience with Cassian lead is broadly that I think is kind of like Bad Batch 2, unfortunately. It's less so. Like Bad Batch 2 is you have a very strict 4-piece combo, and you either remove your damage, you remove your tank, you remove your combo piece, or you remove the lead. And you can't really remove any of those most of the time without getting punished for it. This is less strict than that, but it's still like if you take out Clea, you really feel the lack of Clea. If you take out Cinta, your Vel dies way more easily, lack of healing. You take out Vel, you have no tank. It's still just like rough. The last thing I'll add is there's a lot of people hyping up Cassian lead with Clea and Luthen with the FDC for this week.
Okay, yeah.
I still have some pretty major skepticism on them at this point. But that seems like the big week 2 question, so I guess we shall see.
Well, yeah. Yeah, please, TJ, go ahead.
No, that's exactly where I was going to go to it. It's that you can't just set those 3 on the split. It just doesn't cause enough problems. Even going against it, I faced Zox round 3, and he took what I call Fatal's Bays idea, but he put Luthen on the team, and that tank with the tie-in, I was able to go sear the standard comp everybody was setting, no problem. You come into the point of it, and just the questions being created were great questions. So it's me trying to make adjustments to the fight to see what's a 1-to-1. So it was cool to see. I agree with Fatal of seeing you're just going to basically probably set one comp that's going to be the right comp with the FDC. And Clea Luthen is just one of the strongest combo pairs, in my opinion, with everything tied together. That creates a whole bunch of additional things that you're just trying to work through.
Fair. All right. Appreciate that. No, go ahead.
No, I think what this really is going to boil down to is Luthen Axis versus Luthen Curator. And I think Axis is far better. I think Cassian Lead, if you know what it does, if you've reread it a couple of times and internalized what it does, I don't think it's very good in 3v3 on defense. And Saw kind of fixes that issue, by having Axis Luthen, who is just a much more proactive, high-impact unit overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then to boot, because Axis Luthen forces the decoy to taunt, there you go. You hook into the FTC immediately with the Terminator gains. And then to boot, Cassian is slow to get off the ground in a lot of ways if you choose their matchup correctly when you're fighting him. Saw is not. Saw will typically start the match first, and then you have the FTC anchor to kind of run with the match from there. That,
So,
I think it's
who's
just
the third in this scenario?
so we're kind of discussing Cassian lead versus Saul lead for the Luthen.
No,
Clay at
Saul
FTC.
Luthen and who though? Because I'm following you. I think that
He's
Luthen
telling you,
is.
Clea. He's telling you, Clea.
Oh, Clay.
We're talking about
the same comp, but actually running the FTC there instead of with Cassian. Okay, good. Yeah, I was thinking to circle back to what you guys thought was going to be the best split, if any, or just concentration of Rebel Fighter. But I wanted to briefly mention the other half of Week 1 split, right? Saw Luthen Clea not having the FTC was easy food for Grand Inquisitors. I've seen it where you just spam AoE with Grand Inquisitor until everybody's gone. I've seen it where people open up with Grand Inquisitor third, everybody gets buffed up nicely. Then you spam AoE until everybody's gone. Choose your adventure, but all roads seem to lead to 57. However, somebody did note to me, I want to say in today's chill stream, Livid noted in chat that the FTC with that Saw team was a significant impediment to Riva in particular. I don't know if you guys had any other comments to offer on the Saw team that we saw in Week 1, because then we can circle back to, something that everybody would want to talk about. Like, what is, in your mind, the best use of the Rebel fighters come Week 2 for defense?
They lost Inquisitors against FTC. Although, okay, so the Inquisitor Cron, it's easy to forget sometimes just because, especially when you're playing in 5v5, you press a button and shit just happens. And everything just happens and it doesn't feel like there's RNG. I just hard face planted. And yeah, it was just, I'm a fan of the AoE opener. It just makes sense to me that you ability block them as you start to snowball. And so, turn 1, Grand Inquisitor AoE. Riva assisted, 7th Sister assisted, 7th Sister assisted. That is not enough damage to kill the decoy. There was no GI assist. In 3v3, it's just a 50-50 between does it bounce back to GI or does it not? And I lost that coin flip, and that shit was ass. And I can tell you for a fact, because I looked beforehand, their Luthen was built horribly to boot. So that decoy could have been a hell of a lot tankier. And the low roll was still nowhere near being sufficient. So I might just be done with Inquisitors in this matchup. At least against the FTC, you can probably still whiff it if they don't get the Terminator gains for decoy being hit, but yeah, dude, that was a... I'm good. I'll pass. I'll figure something else out.
So I guess then let's answer the next obvious question for this week. You're doing Luthen Clea. You're doing the FDC. What would you use to counter it? Feel free to chip in with what you'd use before I actually look at the data here, but I am pulling it up as we speak.
I still haven't bothered to figure out a plan, and I still haven't bothered to figure out what I'm doing with Rebel Fighters. I might hold both of them.
Oh, okay.
I think that's going to be your biggest. I think that's going to be the biggest question. It just may not be that you get to do the split, so to speak. Whereas it is, you're going to pick one for one setup, and it goes into player tendency. Because if you look at the data, that anything that's trying to do basic big AOE stuff, you just are gone. Let's seen with like my steer, yeah, it's going to be clear as day what it needs to, what you're going to need to use.
On 33 battles, Riva Grand 7th was 3% win rate. So I didn't filter it for having the Grand Inquisitor Cron, but on 33 battles, I would imagine, yeah, there's a lot of Grand Inquisitors face here, and that's a lot of goose eggs in under a minute or in just over a minute. So, yeah, you're in good company there, Fatal. Balin Shin Marok with the FDC seemed largely successful. You're looking at a 75% win rate on 16 battles for about 56 banners. I think that BKM is in a strong spot this season. There are many teams where you can 54. There are even a few where you can 57, and that's without using what's her name? The original Bo-Katan. You're just talking about something where you have like very high defense and you take almost no damage. and they focus your tank OS protection up a lot of the time. But anyway, on 10 battles, you've got 8 wins, and that is impressive. You're looking at what? Defense, crit damage, bulk level 3. It's exactly what you'd think it would be. Defense, health, offensive buffs, purple set. Let's see, you've got yellow set with what? Bit of health, small amount of defense, larger amount of armor penetration, but not significant. Light side defensive buffs, level 3. That's only for 51, though. They bled on this. So if you're looking for better banners, 54 plus, you're talking a significant chunk of defense and health. You're kind of there. That's. Do you think that's a value, Fatal? Or can you not bear 3 banners lost just to use BKM? Because that's, I mean, if you're approaching it with a proper cron, I think people are going to get this done for 54. Compare that to Seer Malicos Maul, which 33% win rate, best case 54. What do you guys think?
I don't think BKM wins against FTC.
I assure you it does, because it's right there. I'm not asking you to take it on faith. I've got it on screen for you, sir.
I have played BKM against them without the FDC.
Yeah.
And I sat in spectator mode for approximately 4 minutes. All of my units were at like 30% health, and then I was allowed to play. I get that the data says that it was able to work, but
8 out of 10, limited data set, but 8 out of 10, it did work. BKM, Bam, Grogu. I don't know.
Yeah,
let's see. No, please go ahead. I'm just looking up down the list here.
No, I know how people build their shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that there's a lot of volatility in that matchup.
Fair. Very fair. Yeah, that was minimum relics of 7 across all of Kyber 1, so there might be some slack in the line there, so to speak. Looks like Lord Vader works. Looking at something like, what, a 55-ish there? Very limited data. And a whole lot of stuff that just eats it like a Big Mac. So, hey, Bane's there for you. That's good to know. 55.
Bane looks like one of the most consistent against all forms of the sauce setup. You're just not getting past.
By far, that looks like the most reliable.
And then, but when you move it to the Cassian lead, there's a lot of goose eggs going on with Bane. Intended to be the counter.
Sure. Yeah. So let's assume. So if you were, you said you weren't decided on this, Fatal. It doesn't sound like you were either, TJ, and I don't think you've shared your thoughts either way yet, Dagger. But if we were to set, you haven't committed anything, but if you were going to set Saw on defense with Luthen Clea and the FDC, you would not be setting Cassian at all then? You wouldn't use like a Rebel Cron, for example, the Rebel Fighter Cron or whatever, like the one that like the Drogon level 9's on. You wouldn't use a Rebel Cron and set that down, because surely that would be weaker than what would be offered by the FDC, and that proved to be relatively unimpressive in week 1.
The only way I would bother trying Cassian on defense again would be strictly only Clea, Luthen, FDC.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's a question of, do I feel like I can solve it? And it's a question of, do I think other people will have to solve? But
I mean, we can take a quick look at it while we're all here on screen. Sort it out.
I will tell you, I'm just looking at level 6 Rebel anything and taking away the goodness of the team. So we're just saying Senta and like Vel or something like that. It's hundreds around the board of what's taking it out.
Yeah.
So the FEC and then Cassian, what it's getting and causing is such a bigger question, along with the new kits and tying with the Omicrons. It's creating a lot of additional problems that you're trying to solve for. So the minute you take away that FDC, it feels like you've severely diminished the returns by placing Cassian at all.
So what is active when Cassian is the lead? Neither Axis nor Curator, or is it one of them?
It's Curator.
It's Curator. Okay. All right, you got Curator. Interesting. So I would think that this would be just kind of a shit team, to be honest. FTC or not, because you don't have the taunting summon because you're not under Saw Lead. Nevertheless, here at the top of the list, with 57 battles, Queen Master Qui-Gon Padawan Obi-Wan, which dog walks the other composition of Cassian lead with Cinta and Vel, FDC, whatever, 52% win rate. And where it wins, they're using a bulk level 3 from the latest set. High health, some defense, some crit damage here. Defense, crit damage seems to be a theme. You could use the Wampa FTC effectively, but where are these people getting tanked out? Insufficient. Okay, so, okay. Well, that's kind of similar to one of the successes, so that might catch you out. And they actually had mostly favorable relic delta. All right, well, there's a lot of losses here because it's only 50 something. There's a Wampacron. There's something to this, guys, because Queen was overwhelming for that other comp. Like, I would, if I was walking in to week 2 and saw that myself, one of the first things I would think is, I know Queen was just dumpstering the other version of the team. Why not throw it in? I would get blown out right there. I've seen Great Mothers manhandle the other version of the team. 33% win rate on 27 battles. Balin 77%. Riva is a goose egg. JMK 71%. Leia Drogon R2 14%. Where are we seeing real success? JMK Cat Mace 83% on 6 battles, so it looks fundamentally sound. Something was a little off kilter here. Okay, so this is somebody who went in with a purple set, so a power for hire, that had no defense on it. I would wager that all of these other crons have some amount of defense and the bulk level 3. So if you're just able to out-endure them, yeah, you look like you got a smooth 57 with JMK, which is nice because JMK was really helpful for dealing with threats up to and including Jabba. So, and Jabba was for sure on defense mostly this week. Slacker, C. Let's see. That's about it. So this actually looks pretty nasty, which enables you to go back to something like Saw Chirrut Bays with the Chirricron, Saw Kyle Bays with the Kyle Mercenary Cron, if you were so inclined. Those were last 3 vs 3 season. That Kyle Cron was a menace. So that could be an effective split. I actually really like that. Any other comments here on Cassian, Saw, the Rebel fighters in general? Because we still got a ton to cover.
I suspect that this team is not as good as the data shows.
It is a limited set.
Not even necessarily because of that. I just suspect that people don't understand how this team works. I don't think they understand the rules and laws of how you fight Cassian to open him up to get the easy kill.
Got something you want to share with the class on that fact?
Yeah, you have to crit him, and you have to avoid dispelling buffs, and you have to avoid mass assisting, and that's broadly it. I mean, the only other major rule is, like, don't buff an undermine person or else it automatically spread.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when you're fighting the FTC, if they gain turn meter while you have undermine, they will do some true damage to you. And so, like, if people are just walloping on the summon while they are undermined, yeah, they're going to get washed. It's not going to be good. If you just say Cassian, because you always have the choice. Like, it is always, who do you want to attack?
Very good.
You know, whenever Cassian's in the lead slot, the rule that always applies to him is, if you don't crit him, he will have taken 1 damage. If you do crit him, he will take normal damage. You make him counterattack, and he applies vulnerable to himself. He counterattacks when you hit him with someone who's not undermined. And that's broadly it. And I mean, he gets free crit avoidance sources for, like, having a VIP out, or like, he gets crit avoidance per undermined person. But, like,
right.
You can go first, and he's just available to be crit.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, fights against my defense are out there, and just, like, if you run a squad like Jedi Master Mace, Clea just doesn't get to play the video. Like, Clea goes into handcuffs, so this is effectively just Jedi Master Mace against Cassian Luthen, and like, look, man, if you kill Cassian first, and then go on the summon when the only person who's getting turn meter is Luthen, like, that's still a major question mark to me too. Like, if you do or don't understand the conditions of the fight, then yeah, I suspect you'll lose, but I still don't think that necessarily means you can't win. I would just need to see it for myself.
All right. Now, since we're closing on the Rebel fighters, you did have a note that you said about Cassian experiments. Anything you hadn't already covered here?
Yeah, I was messing around with Cassian on offense just to see what I could see where the team was possibly headed. There's some very interesting stuff going on there. And to be clear, this is without the FTC.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is potential for me to figure out Cassian versus Job. I think is definitely within reach. It's just going to take some figuring to maximize the team's damage. And then I think Ahsoka might also be possible. But yeah, again, it's just going to take some theory crafting and figuring. But yeah, no, I like. I think it's very easy to compare them to Bad Batch 2, but I think this team gives you a lot more creativity to try to solve your problems.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a lot of clauses that when you sit down and like, I tried against Jabba once. I didn't lose. I ended up timing out because I didn't really put much thought into it past, okay, they can't ult me or detonator me, and so I'm just going to deathmark them. Okay, well, Jabba is immune to ability block, so there is no deathmark. And so I timed out on that first
with his Omi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I timed out on that first match, but then went back and watched the match back later, and then started thinking about their kids again, and was like, no, there's actually a very different way that I could have approached this match that I think very much could have won. Like, I feel pretty confident saying I think this might be the most complex or hardest team at the game at this point, because there is so much happening under the hood of like who you VIP. VIP the tank, especially against a counterattacking team, is something that I'm very quickly coming around to as like, because you've got the clause that says when your VIP takes damage, you get the VIP snipe back. And you can really start to play with chaining VIP applications, or even if it's just repeating it on the same person, or whatever have you. Yeah, there's a lot happening there, and I have not figured it out at all yet. But yeah, it's just a question of whether the FTC is as good as people think it is. Might get in the way of that testing short term, but we'll see.
Okay. Appreciate it. Now, you did touch on this earlier. Our next item, we can talk about Jedi Master Mace now. So, for a few metas of the past, he's been on defense. He's done good to middling things. And yeah, being a permakill team, we always suspected there's probably some good applications for him on offense, but none that we felt really strongly about that we needed him specifically for. So he's kind of been in that middling spot. Maybe we use him, maybe we don't. We don't expect much of him anyway. But not just for you, Fatal. For others, I've seen some impressive results this week using JMM on offense. Share with us what you've found.
I will just add an asterisk. JMM has not been on defense. JMM has been filling on defense. There's a pretty major difference.
That's cope to me, man. He's there, he's not.
It's not cope when he's dog shit. He's there.
Fine. Okay, fine. He's a dog shit defense, but he's still on defense a lot of the time. I don't know what it is.
He's there to help you count to 15 without actually committing anything. No, it's just like, this is a character who I would say has been like pretty much the weakest release this game has ever seen. He came out, wasn't really doing anything, got a Datacron, didn't really do anything. Like, and I don't even think the success right now is due to the Galactic Republic Datacron either. I think it's just like, yeah, the kit finally makes more sense. Like, he preys on Cassian's counterattacks well. He just fits the matchup well, especially in 3v3. The handcuff is very halting.
I was gonna say that handcuff is literally 99% of doing all of the things you needed to do because you're playing a 3-on-2 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, man. I like look. Your Clay goes in handcuff. Luthen's gonna shrug his shoulders, and nothing is going to happen. They're like, all right, Curator Luthen, good job. Come back next week. Like, yeah, we'll see. I just think that Mace is. I always figured that with the tools that he had, even if he didn't make sense now, he might eventually make sense. Like, his tools aren't bad; they are answering questions that we don't currently get asked. It feels like we're starting to see glimpses of that. He might have aged well over time. We'll see. Continue to monitor.
Yeah. I think
I think it's a.
Go ahead.
If you're looking at Mace, you also have a very strong attacker sideline with Depa. Depa has been like, to me, the big damage that like to Dom, I'm gonna lock you down and beat you down. Depa's been the one doing a lot of the work. Yes, you're afraid of the I can't revive, but when Depa slaps you, there's actually an impact to what's happening to the team. E.g., people just can go away or whatever else. As Jedi Master Mace just walks up and kind of throws his lightsaber at you as well.
It is of note. Somebody in my chill stream earlier mentioned that the Depa Balaba level 9 is not working properly. Do any of you know the details on what's broken there?
It's just the investigation stacks. Not she doesn't get the extra ones.
Okay. So it's just slow to achieve the rest of the effect. It's just that first clause that's busted.
I believe so, but don't quote me on that. There might be more.
No, I appreciate it. You know more about it than I do. I was following up on something I'd heard on a whim. Okay, let's move to DVDE. Now, you're dealing with, in a lot of cases, the bonus turn on Sith level 6, so that means that DVD pops off immediately. You've got the Emperor Palpatine level 9 saying that if he dies and there's any other allies remaining, then the guy that killed EP is going down. Oh, Dagger just said he had to jump out. Thanks for joining us, however, briefly. Dagger, thank you. Appreciate you. Have a good day. But, shit, where was I? Yeah, DVD. Yeah, so I would say I've seen Balin, which seems like overkill, but of course it has a couple layers of safety. You would do like Balin, Shin, Han. You stun the DVD with Han, and you just mop them because not only do you have permakill, so you get around hatred, but you also are yourself, all of your allies, immune to instant defeat, so it doesn't matter when you kill EP. Still, feels like an overkill. You've got Lord Vader, I saw people use it. All of your teammates are immune to instant defeat. You just manhandle it. So there's a couple different ways to just brute force your way through that team. But I saw, with a couple streamers, a few budget options that I think are worth exploring. Fatal, I think I saw you use Fugitive Omega to get a successful kill at least once. What can you tell us about it? What made it work? How do you think you can make it the most reproducible for week 2?
Yeah, tried it out in match 1 of this week. It just, our tools versus their tools, felt right in my gut and worked pretty well. I mean, for anyone wanting to try it, I will tell you the same thing that I will tell you for just about every Bad Batch match, which is, this is just a survival check. This is your record built correctly? Is the rest of your squad built correctly? have you joined the Death Cult of Damage mods, or do you actually give a shit and want to win the video game? Because if you want to live and win, then yeah, you're going to want to bring some defense. Crosshair.
Talk to us about that, though, because everybody's going to say, well, of course, Fatal, I've got my Mercenary Wrecker and defense mods. Duh.
I do tend to run a sort of hybrid Omega on top. Okay, so there's a few things I can mention here. First off, DVDE ignores taunt. And if you know Bad Batch, then you know that a lot of taunts ignore effects. Ignore their lock stealth. It is what it is. In this case, I actually don't think it's a bad thing. I think it actually works out pretty okay for us. For a couple of main reasons, and then there's one main risk. It's really just that, if your crosshair is beefy enough, like in my case, I do have the accuracy error. I can't run a bulk primary there, but at least his cross is definitely on bulk. The Datacron is definitely on bulk. That my crosshair is, not necessarily trying to go down easy. And a major thing that helps you here is the crosshair auto cleanse on the Omicron. So when DVD goes into his tantrum, if he chooses crosshair for the tantrum, which he does seem to do fairly often, I don't know if it's just because my crosshair is my weakest by far. But the death mark just goes away immediately. There is no death mark. So that's already a pretty good place to start. If he does randomly choose Omega, I would advise her to be on protection primaries, just to, juice the odds against death mark. If she goes into captive, can we save her? Probably, maybe. But it's still better to not have to in the first place. And then, past that is just be durable enough that, two of your characters aren't getting crit. One of your characters is regenerating pretty frequently from all the assists. And you just got to be able to tank it out, man. This is a question of your wrecker's mods, relic, Datacron. The damage will come eventually. You don't even need to worry about, bringing the damage. Most Bad Batch matches are just a question of, can you survive enough to buy the time?
So I see that in this round where you did this, you had a Kron that was power for hire. It was 26% health, 278% defense, light side offensive buffs up level 3, and long text mercenary defense penetration level 6. I think that only really applies to mercenary wrecker, so probably not why you chose this Kron. But the first part of my two-part question here to you on this is, what part of this Kron do you think is essential? You can reproduce this across any one of the available sets, or is there something uniquely qualified about the light side offensive buffs level 3 here?
I chose the Kron for the defense. The light side buff 3 is lovely, although it's not as good as it sounds just because of the nature of target practice, right? It's basically like having 3 extra target practice sacks, more or less. It's like 4, because it's 10 crit damage, 5 offense, so I guess it's probably 5 TB stacks. Either way, point being, if you're damn, I don't have light side buffs, okay, just press basic a couple more times, there you go. Now you have it. The mercenary level 6 is something I will point out for future reference for people, just not for this matchup, because, the reason why it's kind of fun is, if you crosshair call Wrecker, the level 6 causes mercenaries to attack again, so, crosshair call Wrecker could be double assist. That's well and all, but my Wrecker never gets to play the video game, so that should do nothing. Fun in theory. I guess you get, the auto expose, but yeah, I don't think that has any bearing. I think you just win regardless.
Okay. And the other part of my question here is, as a long-term investor into the Fugitive Omega team, and you've had Crosshair and Fugitive both at Relic 10, how effective do you think that decision is in this matchup today, just in that overall? As somebody who has 40-plus Relic 10s myself, I don't actually have Fugitive and Crosshair done. I do have Wrecker. And he's, strong, well set up. I want to say thereabouts of 80% armor. So I'd like to think that I could pull this counter off myself going into week 2. But is there something that, you just swear by the reliability granted by some benefit given in these 2 other Relic 10s? What can you say about those?
Good question. Okay, so I'll audit all 3 for this because I think it honestly probably blends together. So to start with Wrecker, because Wrecker I think is the best R10 on the team. If I think back to my matches, in fact, I could try to pull it up as I'm yapping. I don't think my Wrecker ever fell below like any amount of like significant protection loss. So Wrecker R10 here, probably not that important. Most Darth Vader turns that I can think of in my head were definitely going onto the squishy side units. So necessity of R10 Wrecker here, I would say no, not really. Crosshair is a weird one to answer. So Crosshair R10 I did for the 10% accuracy. More so for the 5v5 combo with Hunter, just to remove some RNG. It was, if you run accuracy arrow and you have the R10 and you have the mark, then you're guaranteed to hit, is all that really is. Like, if you don't have the R10, then you have a 10% chance to miss. Is that the worst sin? Like, I don't know. You might have some RNGs on some fights, but if you're working on a budget, it's like not the end of the world.
And the 10% accuracy is worth exactly 2 stacks of shaken. Is that right?
Yes. Right. So like if you start at 20 shaken, minus 200% accuracy, you self-cast the first special, you go to 14 shaken, that puts you at negative 140. 30 for the accuracy arrow, 10 for the R10, and then if the target happens to have marks, that's another minus 100. That puts you at perfect, flat, even. You're good to go. It wasn't intended. It was just a tragic consequence of some of the flavor CG did. But I will note, if you do fight DVDE with a tank, it has the LV flavor of, would they lose taunts? They gain mark instead, and wouldn't you know it, that is still mark. That does still give you the 100% accuracy, so it's just like, thank you, I guess. Alright, yeah, freebie. I did fight a Mara later in the week, though, so I did get to see a more angry, aggressive side, more trying to control me, but then also, not necessarily getting the free hits, having to earn them more honestly, and it did work out, so yeah, I could say it.
Please.
No, I could say for both ends that, like, I don't think this is just like, I only get to win because the tank lets me get in for free. I think it works out both ways. It's just when you don't get the free help, you have to earn your hits more readily. And so, to that end, the R10 just kind of helps you try to get off the ground a little bit sooner with the extra accuracy. I don't think it's like absolute end of the world vital here. It just,
But you still stand for it, though. Like, I'm not hearing anything that makes nothing approaching regret. So
I absolutely don't regret it. It's just I would call it a luxury.
Okay, a luxury. So not essential. So you would run this counter confidently with a Relic 9 Crosshair.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to. In fact,
sure, Relic 9, Relic 8, what have you, fine. But yeah, proportionate to the enemy, just not needing the 10. What a Fugitive Omega, though. So appreciate the breakdown on Crosshair, but how have you been enjoying the Fugitive Omega?
The biggest thing that I would say for her, and this is not something that I am firmly aware of the exact math on whether this matters or not. The reason I did Fugitive Omega was like 3 main reasons. So her lead heals you more per turn based on relic level. It's like 0.5% health and protection per relic level. Going from R9 to R10 just for that, not really a big deal. She also gets extra cooldown reset potential. It's like she dispels debuffs first, and then the extra amount that she didn't have to dispel on debuffs can possibly go to protection healing, and then protection healing can go to cooldown restore, and so I mostly did that for that. That I don't think is necessarily that
You're
important
stacking
here.
with what was it again? Four prop primaries. This is all part of an overall bulk strategy on her.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly more so just for the cooldown reset usually, but like if you're fighting Pirate King Hondo or whatever, they drown you in debuffs that it was just to help. There were some times where I would do the cooldown reset and nothing would happen, so I was just trying to grease those wheels a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the last reason is just that she is often the team's second tank, for better or worse. So I tried R10ing her just to help that a bit.
Smart, yes. And for folks that aren't experienced with using this, there are a number of circumstances. I'm not as deeply familiar with the kit as Fatal is, but there are times where you can actually force Record to be under stealth and not actually tanking, in which case Fugitive Omega sticks out like a sore thumb. So having her built to be able to take some damage is a wise call. Back to you, Fatal.
Yeah, I will say, like, when you play in the big leagues, even when I tried my best, because it's like, in theory she has Records unique. It in theory she might be capable of doing some tanking, but like at best we're talking like we're buying an extra turn or two. If you put her in a position where she should go down, she is going down. So yeah, I don't think any R10s are absolutely vital here. The highest impact one I could maybe see is like maybe you get lucky on the Cassian R10 accuracy that it lets you get off the ground a little bit sooner. I don't think it's that deep. I don't think it's that vital. Like,
sure,
the Omicrons do a lot of heavy lifting for you here.
So specifically for fighting DVD, if I'm summarizing you accurately here, the Mercenary Wrecker level 10, in particular for this fight, doesn't feel like it matters that much, but overall you're really satisfied with the investment into Wrecker level 10 for other applications. And then for both this fight versus DVD and in general, you found both of these Relic 10s to be useful, but not essential. Is that fair?
I think Wrecker R10 is one of the best R10s in the game, and it's not remotely close. If you are remotely interested in using Bad Batch 2, like anywhere, I mean, honestly, frankly, I've had it playing on my screen in the background the whole time. Just like put this at 2 or 3x speed or whatever, and you'll see what I mean. Like, yeah, it's like Wrecker's an insanely good tank. Bad Batch is an insanely good team. They have a bright future. They have a hell of a lot of targets. That's pretty good job security.
Oh, you meant for me to view this. Hold on. I see your link just now. Thanks for pointing it out.
I was going to say, it's just like, put this on super speed and then just like watch my Wrecker's health bar. And it's like...
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that.
Does this feel like R10 was barely hanging on? No.
We'll put it on 2.0 here and let it roll. No, I appreciate that. And thanks for answering all that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, one last thought.
Please.
Because there have been some people who ended up going this way. If your mods are really lacking or whatever, you're not that interested in Datacrons, like, yeah, maybe the R10 record becomes more important just because, like, if you're not getting it from there, it's got to come from somewhere. So, like, if you're not interfacing with those other parts of the game, yeah, like, if you're just not that interested in mods or remodding or whatever, then, maybe the R10 record makes more sense for you just to get some performance out of him.
But to be perfectly honest, folks, as fans of this show, fans of the players that are involved in this show, I would hope that you're interested in remodding to gain a meaningful advantage.
But yeah, like, my record never falls below, like, 70% protection, right? Like,
you manhandled this.
Like, you could, like, R8 to R7 record this shit with the same setup, and, like, you're probably fine.
Yeah, I agree. TJ, I appreciate you patiently lurking there in the shadows. Your experiences fighting DVD, anything you wanted to add to the pot of knowledge there?
I think it showed by the content creators, and there is a level of the team, in my opinion. I didn't want to steal Fatal's thunder because he said it on Vex, but I was going through it, and what I was finding is a lot of people are either going to set Mara Jade or you're going to set a tank. And the minute you do that, I'm setting Savage. I love that team. The idea being anything else is
Wait. You're
basically.
cheating. You son of a
Oh,
bitch, you're
oh.
cheating. You're cheating. The next question
You-
was
you
going to
asked me.
be, what do you brilliant gentlemen think about setting DVD this week, and how might you improve it? I was asking how you fought DVD. You're
And I
skipping
was
into
getting
the
to it.
future.
No, I'm combining, sir.
Oh,
So
you
I
fancy
was actually going to
bastard.
the point. So
You go ahead.
I was seeing people doing the things. Mary Jade is obviously the most common one, or you're doing a tank. I've also fought somebody who thought they were going to be, and they put Ma Mothma on the team. It's Gungan food. I went through it just fine. It didn't feel like I was to a point where I was going to get scared or something else. Some may take longer one than the other, but it's still not giving the proper question. You can just try to Gungans it. Hence why I went to the Savage. I get you're talking about what it is, but anything else was not
No, I was mostly
creating the
pulling your
proper
leg. Go
question.
ahead.
I know, but that's the idea, right? I was Gungansing the food. It was free 57s from what I was facing. And
Look at that.
that's
Look at that. I'm looking at your defense. You're talking about how, and I saw your offense. You were using Gungans effectively, and you were doing it with a power for higher cron. Light side offensive buffs level 3, some defense, some crit damage, some offense on your cron, and you were dusting different versions of EP DVDE throughout the week. You yourself set EP DVDE Savage with the, new cron for EP. And lo and behold, your opponent tried Gungans. 2 minutes in, had to withdraw.
Vex tried the same thing. So I was like, oh, there's a new problem we get to create because no one's really going to set that. So I had to give the props out to Fatal because he set it on with Vex. So again, watching my content creators, I got to see something
you smart son of a bitch. Look at this. This Nihilus, this Treya, this Scion. Look at this. This is value. Are you kidding me? Burning a Galactic Legend and getting a 54? I would do this every day and twice on Sunday. I really like this split.
It's what we talked about. We plot and we scheme. And again, one of my points was you only have so many Ma's. And if some people are setting Ma's, so what happens is I start to burn your resources. And that's what we talked about when we were doing our plotting.
Well, listen, now you're skipping deep into the future because that is the next topic is Maz.
So to the point, I love the EP DVD on defense, but you have to create the proper problem.
And for you, that is just Savage.
It was a great problem because even when you look at the data, you had to give it a proper team.
It wasn't I just get to go on. I liked it.
I love it. And that's why I said Fatal did something that was super awesome. And it's like, well, now I have these other resources. I know we'll go to that. But I'm loving them on defense when you actually have to respect what's going on and a proper setup for Savage. Savage is a monster, man. He's been one of the OGs and one of my favorite, I think a lot of our OG gamers, when it came to Savage, his Omi is amazing. It's just so relinquished to like, oh, what's going on, Treya? Well, now you spread your resources out. It's phenomenal.
Very fair. Fatal, anything you have to contribute on the idea of an improved EP DVD aside from Savage here for week 2?
DVD Savage was kind of the secret weapon that I was sitting on going into week 1. Is like, it sounded violent, like paired with Sith bonus turn. I figured it might be decent, but I think Vex ended up figuring it out, dying with like Malgus, and I don't know that juice is really worth the squeeze for a Malgus trade. So I pretty much pulled off of it immediately.
Yeah, it would seem that if your opponent is really locked into this notion of Gungans, you might have an exploit there, but worth scouting out. Appreciate that. It's a good note. All right. Another one here from TJ that ties right back in. So we were talking about DVD. This is a question I've gotten from viewers, patrons alike. What do you do about Maz? Are we using Maz versus DVD? How are we using Maz? And as a defensive planner, how are you stressing Maz? So yeah, TJ, tell us more about it. You're the one that was really excited to kick off on Maz. How are you using her? Where she stood out this week?
So for me, I was keeping her for key team, right? Because Honestly, everybody went away and forgot about if you set a whole bunch of SIF teams, you only have one Moz. So when you and I talked, I'm like, how do I exploit this? Because I really like this EP team. I think people are going to underestimate it. When I saw Vex fight it, he went in and then underestimated it. Tried Gungans, got blown out. I'm like, oh, great. Gungans is going to get used up here. People decide to try this. And I'm thinking, like, well, what's the next thing? And you come back to me, it's like, we need to get back to exploiting out all these SIP teams, which is why I put my resources up front of I did Malgus with Malik and BSF with the DR Cron. Just a good setup. I'm trying to put something else. I'm playing with the notion of the DC. Because I'm not going to put Darth Revan there. I want to split it off because it dies to Maz. So maybe I need Darth Revan. And then that comes in. I'm like, well, if I can try to move the effects, I don't think you get to Gidme. So I did Nihilus because no health effects. So split up the Nihilus, the Treya, and the Scion. Let the DC run there. And then again, I stole Fatal's idea. Watch your content creator. And I'm like, and I talked to you about this. LV's in the back with the Wampacron. Because as I stand by this, I'm not wrong, but Fatal's right. I used Wampacron 2.0 with my QA team. So we'll go off to that standpoint, but I was just trying to break your resources up. You only have one Maz. Where do you use her?
It is a significant note, though. It is a significant note that the biggest reason to post the Wampacron with Lord Vader is to impede Maz. And if it is to impede Maz, it's because they were relying on using an aggressive Datacron. Look at this. With 250% defense, a smidge of offense, negligible amount of crit damage, 25% turn meter dark side, Scoundrel basic reset level 6 and Athano level 9, 56 banners on the Lord Vader with the Wampacron in under a minute and a half. So, to your point, like, it is worth trying to set up a draw for that if you're setting to impede Maz specifically. But if you're not setting to impede Maz specifically, this is kind of good because that means that Wampacron might be better set elsewhere. You could lean into something that's more defense, more health oriented, more generally predisposed to succeeding against Satil, stuff like that. What do you say?
That was it. I mean, that's the idea. Because if you look right next to it, I have Stranger. Because again, I tell you, it's like, well, what are our known counters when we're looking at what we're going to set up? So Satil, Maz, and Bane are basically your go-tos anytime you're throwing on an LV. So I'm like, I liked what Fatal decided to do. And I came up to you with the real question of like, well, Wampa's kind of like my crutch. But I just took it back and we looked, and Wampa 2.0 is that Lumicron. There's enough offensive crit damage in there for your Queen team or whatever else you're going to utilize to really, it still gets to thrive on that without having to do it, which means you have a serious damage maker with the Wampacron. So that's how I was trying to split my resources off because I know you only have so many ways. And that EP team, bottom front, did a lot of good, solid work. It held 2 out of the 3 times I said it, it held. And it would be a 3 out of 3 if I had to guess, just because you don't know what you're getting from that.
All right, very fair. We have so much more to talk about, guys.
I told you this was going to be a heavy week. You thought you were getting out of here quick.
No, I knew that I just wouldn't have a lot to personally contribute, so I'm glad there's such rich detail to go through. Yeah. Let me talk about, since it's right in front of me here, I don't know if either one of you mentioned it up to this point on your individual list, but Ahsoka. So a lot of us were curious about Ahsoka Ezra, on defense. That's kind of the way it is now. Ezra just kind of makes sense to be in a full-time all-Spectre team. So Hu Yang, more or less indisputably, adds the most stuff into this team, just as a function of his existence. Sometimes you might run General Syndulla, but that isn't, I think it's, especially at the top end of the game, it's easy enough to make your Great Mothers and Morgans safely faster than even the fastest General Syndullas. So Hu Yang kind of makes more sense. I see here for you, just looking at your round 3, TJ, you got a hold using a power for hire, 54% defense, 36% health, 60% crit damage, and a minor amount of offense. Light side offensive, defensive buffs, level 3. That's evasion up, health steal up, and health up. And mercenary level 6, which I don't know if that actually affects any of them. So
it doesn't do anything.
It was here as a stat cron, but nevertheless, so this is not what's so notable about this is that there's nothing notable about this cron. It's a light side defensive buffs up level 3. It isn't a particularly high amount of health, of defense, or of crit damage. Nevertheless, in just over 2.5 minutes, forced the withdrawal of Leia Drogan R2 with a cron that had over 100% critical damage, light side buffs level 3, 66% defense besides, minor but helpful. You would think that I would still use the Drogan cron probably, but I would not think that this would fail. So
no,
yeah, nice.
This is actually my point of what we talked about and what we are going off of, I think, into the minutia. And it's what I call the ebb and the glad effect. And that's my topic point because we talked about it. I think Fatal took a different stance on it, but I think it's going to start coming down to not only the DCs or whatever you're applying, but the modding, how you decide to mod. We had a pretty lengthy discussion about what do you want to try? And I'm trying something different to push my numbers because I happen to have my Ezra is 380 right now with the CA arrow. I'm still 115 health and I'm still looking at it. So it's like I put a lot of love and care into what I'm trying to see what it's going to do, if it's going to create a problem, even to the point of C-Bane or something else. It may not, but I'm looking at it. If I'm not mistaken, Fatal, if I was hearing right, was in the slower, tankier build setup. So health and you're just not going to kill him quick. And you put less speed, if I'm not mistaken, still a CA arrow on top of a bulkier, healthier ebb. This is where I feel like mechanics of the team are really applying because you get to manipulate what's going on within the fight. And then that may catch you off guard. And as you see with Zox, that's a top player, old guildmate for us, still in VDO, still has a really solid muster. It caught you. And from that catch, he never cleared my Ahsoka from that point. And you'll see he threw a whole bunch.
This progression is actually kind of noteworthy, right? So Leia failing, he withdrew. All right. So taking on the fight fresh, going back in with Great Mother's Morgan Spirit, dark side 25% turn meters, a large amount of defense, and about 90% crit damage. Managed to only take out Hu Yang before getting eliminated. And then after that, so against just Ahsoka Ezra, Bane failed. Now, honestly, that probably kind of rings true. If it isn't C-Bane, that sounds still a bit dubious. But then failed with full Lord Vader after that. Yeah, that's an impressive defensive performance from Ahsoka. I don't often get to see that myself, even when I'm fighting real players.
That's what I think the key is. I think it's going to be everybody's got what they want to try with their Ezra, but if you give it the love and care, I still feel like it's a formidable team.
Mm-hmm.
Even if nothing else, I even faced it, and we'll go, if you want to go look at my attacks, C-Bane, and I got down to seconds to 58. So it wasn't just, and I think even that was against Zox.
448. 448.
Yeah. Not worried at all. And then I think if you go look, round 1, Donkey Punch. I think it was another one where I went.
Yeah, 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes.
So then maybe it was round 2, but either way, I was like, I'm not scared. You're scared. It's going to be fine. Everything's normal here. And I'm looking at counting my blessings of, all right. Got through it okay. So it's like the defense, the health, the mechanics for what we have on the Datacrons on top of some of the good modding. I just think this team is still gonna to lock it down. Yes, it'll probably die to Night Sisters, or yes, it may die to C-Bane. It's cool, but when it holds, Ezra is unrelenting.
Very good. Very good. Fatal, any comments to offer on Ahsoka Ezra in this week?
I just stacked mine with as much health as I could manage, and it did what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, you had
The-
defensive results. I didn't really look yet.
Yeah. I mean, Leia won.
Yeah,
but
there
that's
you go.
expected.
All right, so you set with General Syndulla. So I gave some comment earlier saying that, as far as sheer stats put on the table, Hu Yang's really great. Syndulla is the other alternative. Can you tell us why you are choosing here in week 1 to have General Syndulla?
I just like making tasty looking treats.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, let's see here, 75% health, enormous. And then light side bulk level 3, 81% defense, 27% crit damage. So I assume that chunk of crit damage was just stubborn and didn't go away. And
it finally cooperated after like 8,000 more shard drop currency this week.
very nice, very nice. Which way did it go? Health or defense?
Oh, health. I don't. The defense would be gone too if I could.
I got you. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense, especially for people that are motivated by having only great mothers to rely on. When Night Sister Spirit has foresight, she ignores all defense, so your only mitigation against that would just be life total. So health is the way to go. Makes sense. All right. Yeah. Now, TJ, you did have an item here on Exile Ezra and the Ahsoka effect. We've just been talking about this team. Any other comment you wanted to offer before we move on?
I just think just put the love and care into the team still. Don't just disrespect it and lock it
Specify
away.
to the people, though. What does that look like for you? What does that love and what does the essential love and care look like?
It's manipulating with the turn order for Hu Yang, making him, to me, with the fix, he's an ultra battery. He's just making that team fly for getting to ult beyond all measures. So it's like that team is just off and running. And then
So you're
how you
talking
decide
about high speed. You're advocating for high speed on Hu Yang. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear enough.
Speed.
When I'm saying, go ahead.
Go ahead. So I'm looking at like a 340, 345 speed Hu Yang. I want him blazing fast to push around the turn meter. Yes, I'm not talking slow. I'm saying he's transformed with the correction to his kit and actually applying to me. I like him, the battery, to just push this team forward as fast as possible. So he doesn't need to be the 10K or whatever else like that. When this dude is flying and then pushing the team out, and then she's booming to ult, and then it's just flipping around. Yes, I'm not talking some slow footing. I want him locked in, but I still like Fatals. That's why I said the love and care, because you can't call his wrong. That bulky modding, and you're never his Ezra's just gonna sit here, and then you're gonna get locked off by General Syndulla. That's what the Spectre team is a monstrous team. Still, you have to respect it. That's it.
Fair enough. You would have to assume that Syndulla got a lucky fracture here against Grey Mothers. I mean, that's the typical intent, but usually you're able to blow her up early enough in the fight, and you have her Relic 10 here, Fatal, so I assume that contributes to it. You've got a lot of health in her modding, I assume.
Well, it's a retreat, so she might have died in the fight, and we don't know, right?
Yeah, but my guess is yes, maybe. Okay, maybe. Sure.
Either way, my General Syndulla has just as much health as my Ezra.
Oh my god,
that's
awesome!
Like
making tasty looking treats.
Now, when you say just as much health, are we achieving this in health sets? Is this speed health? Is this all defense? Is this speed defense? What are we doing here?
Health.
Just pure health all the way through. All right, I like that, because if that's the case, I could look to pivot her towards that and free up some really impressive health primaries on speed set. So I like that. Okay, next thing on the item, Balin. So this one's from you, TJ. Where does he play offense or defense? I don't know where I felt that he was pivotal in any fights that I was participating in or watching. I don't know where I felt that he was pivotal to have on offense. On defense, I think that, what was it? BKM can devour the version that has OG Hondo in it. So Balin Shin OG Hondo, and BKM with one of the latest Datacron set, you're talking bulk level 3, some high defense, maybe a chunk of health to boot. Just fine. Just fine. That's going to get you a 54. However, if it does have Balin Shin Marok, that actually has manhandled BKM. That's kind of all I have really to report on that. Otherwise, I saw it used to overkill the likes of DVD, for example. So, what say you guys?
I'm not seeing where I was getting punished for coming up against the Balin, and what I decided to do, because I had it right. We'll call it lack of. I was able to Leia that with the setup just fine. Hondo was there. I didn't need Leia elsewhere, but I knew if I ever needed it, Balin was there to bail me out, so to speak. I put him somewhere just to try it out to see where it was going to be at, but I didn't see where I was getting punished. Um, for one, setting it or not setting it, it didn't feel like it was going to do anything different. That I couldn't beat it up. If it was, I could just go JML. If it was the Shin Marok, and if it was the Hondo, which everybody was setting this week out of, I guess, comfort, because where do you place your Hondo? Um, Leia was toppling it like it was nothing. And I didn't need Leia for the Ahsoka because I had C-Bang. So I didn't feel punished coming up against that. And that DC is a really, really, and I can't stress this enough. You don't even need to put it against Balin. That DC is super strong with some great key mechanics. If you want to apply doubt, if you want to do the monster assisting, so it's like it's okay to be on defense, but I didn't feel like it was that great. And if you need to get out of jail free, Balin on that DC combined is it's locking down a majority of things that you're going to come against. Sorry, Fade, I'll cut you off.
No, I mean, the answer is largely boring. I only had one round that didn't just GL it. And the round that didn't tried BCAM and lost, tried STL and lost, and that was about all I had.
Yeah, you're talking on mute, Tass.
Oh, yeah. Great. I'm not frustrated by that at all. And and that's good. And that's a really good thing. So, I should have covered this right after we talked about Cassian. And my apologies to the people. We were talking about, first and foremost, the new area units in service this season. Why didn't I not immediately cover ISB? TJ has a note here saying ISB is a real boy and can require some good teams. Tell us the news.
I walked in very down looking at ISB with the Kron, right? It just became like, I'm gonna take the ISB Kron, this crit of oneness, I'm gonna slap down on Glat, and then actually faced the team, and I'm like, let me just check AdRad. Let's check the level of AdRad against the team. What does it do, right? With the actual AdRad Kron. So I'm like, you can't just kill me. I have room to play. I did the fight and it was great. It actually beat the shit out of my AdRad, which was great to see. And it required me to actually think, oh, I actually got to respect this team now. So between the mechanics that was going on, it actually felt good on defense and required something more than, let's say, the likes of AdRad or something else cheap. So it's like, I like it. And on offense, I was actually seeing people use that, and it was taking care of good work as well. So that's why I said the ISB, maybe it's a threes team or whatever else, but with the DC, it's doing stuff proper, especially if we can answer the question, does your KX get the Undermine? If Partagas gets it, yeah, you're in trouble. But if once KX gets that Undermine, man, that team is going to beat the shit out of you.
Fair. All right. Fatal, how about you? What's your experience with ISB in week 1?
I have just been killing them with bounty hunters. I think both times that I fought with bounty hunters. They did undermine on Partagaz, so kind of a non-starter. I don't know. I mean, their defense hasn't really been interesting at all. They get a little bit of lead when people like use JML. It's like usually -2. It's okay. I do kind of wonder if I wouldn't get more juice out of them on offense at this point. It's really just this season is very expensive in terms of things that you have to hold. So, like, if they're going on offense, then I would have to figure out another good team to go on defense instead. So, that'll take some figuring. I don't know if that'll be doable, because even now I already have, like, what I would consider 2 filler teams holding spots. And, yeah, I don't know. It's just a question of trying to figure out what goes where and why. ISB, I mean, I was kind of happy to just, let the speed down and the undermine gamble beat the opponent's problem, but it's hard not to feel like they could have been doing more.
Well, I love that. That's incredible value for Dabbot to get that 57 there. And there are so many opponents that are not going to have 7-star ISB that are nevertheless going to set it just like they will their Cassian all this season. So seeing that there's something like this that isn't anywhere near a huge overkill, really love to see that.
I actually disagree. I think DBB is a huge overkill. And maybe you're not seeing it, but
I haven't seen it doing a whole lot impressive on defense this season. So yeah, explain.
Dabbot? Oh, I feel like you're wrong. There was a number of places where I just put Dabbot because the added defense that's coming from the kit, and there's Scoundrel Crons right now to tie in. Put some resistance pen to allow your Fennec to do work. You have Darkside Turn Meter to start the fight. So it's like I took 50, I'm getting 57s with Dabbot in them. To me, I'm not giving you free Afro food when I can take Dabbot and kill a multitude of different teams right now because of Darkside Turn Meter.
Oh yeah, you may have misunderstood me. I definitely agree that this could be really impressive on offense because I wasn't seeing it do a whole lot on defense.
The ISB to me still requires a level of a team that's more respectful than some would think. And to me, if you're using Dabbot there, that means you're respecting the team. And that's probably selfish of my own opinion of looking at it. But Dabbot with Asajj is a monster offensive team for good banners.
Sure. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's catch the next topic here. Yes. Okay. Always, Galactic Legend Ray is a factor on defense. Sometimes she's a real problem. Sometimes she's just a routine hurdle that you need to clear. Fatal's brief introduction to this topic is entitled Lumi Ray is Ass. Would you care to expand on that, Fatal?
It's the new Ray hotness. It dies to the same shit as the old Ray hotness, just like every past Ray hotness.
I will say, check this out. I'm going to pull this up on screen. Ben, and who would you say was the toughest variant of Ray that you saw for a third? Ray, Ben, who?
I didn't see any tough Ray variants.
Ah, shit. Well, okay, let me see. I didn't specify a Datacron on here. I will say that Queen,
yeah.
I think I saw that you use Queen. Some people, I saw drops with Queen against Ray Swolo Cal with a high defense, new set, light side bulk level 3. I saw drops versus Ray Swolo Cal using the Lumicron like so. That is with or without the Wampacron. There are a variety of ways where people did, hearing Kyber 1 with minimum relics of 7 applied, both teams having a Datacron. There are ways in which Queen loses this fight. So even though it's 85%, it's still over 1,600 battles. Wow, a lot of people thought this was a known quantity.
Queen Amidala players, I need you to lock in and listen the fuck up. Take your battle on Obi-Wan. There's a few shapes on him. There's like a there's like a circle, and then you're going to see a plus, and then you're going to see it's kind of like an up arrow, but it's kind of weird. It's to the side. Okay. There's a pretty good chance that a couple of those things are going to say things like speed and offense. And the round one might even say something like protection. I don't know what it is, some foreign language. Make them say health.
Make them say health, he said. Yeah, you cut out there for a second, so I wanted to reiterate.
I heard health.
Yeah,
so I don't know where the cutout was, but it was pretty clear.
Yeah,
Make them say health.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, clear.
Yeah. Look, man, it is. Look, okay. I went through the picture perfect, poster perfect, I should be fucked this week. It was like my Padawan Obi-Wan was at like half health. Ben had his AoE ready. Look, Ben Solo, there have been times in the past where if you just give him enough damage, he could just do it to you. That it was like, oh shit, this is the moment. He could actually checkmate me here. Hey, did you know that in Queen Amidala, when you have your health over time and protection over time buffs this build, it heals you? And did you know?
And as I saw you confirm on stream, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Ben Solo's AoE dispels before it does damage. And did you know that every time Master Qui-Gon rolls his dice, you stack your health, and then you've got like the 60% health on Queen's protection, and Master Qui-Gon dice gets you up to like plus 100% health, and then you got the light side bulk on the level 3. I know it's fun to be in the Death Cult. I know you're just like, wahoo, I wanna, offense 5 raise, I wanna do damage. Leave the Death Cult. Padawan Obi-Wan's not even the best damage dealer on that team. Just keep him alive. You'll be alright, I promise. It's a good thing to be doing. PSA. I recommend choosing life.
PSA. Putting the word out for the people on that one. All right. So Lumi Ray's asks, what is an ass then? What do you say is a better fate for Ray? Are we talking about Cal? Are we talking about Xeris? We're talking about high defense, or are we leaning high health, or something else entirely? What are you expecting is, and this of course goes to you as well, TJ, heightened expectations for Ray in week 2? What are you thinking?
Yeah, for the first time on this podcast, I am going to keep it close to the chest until it rolls in this week.
Stay tuned.
I think I came up with a very fun cook in the past 48 hours, and I would love to see how it works. It might play out, it might not.
All right. We will stay tuned. How about you, DJ? Anything that you think is a good tech for Ray here in week 2? Ray Swallow who? With what crown? All right. I will go find the nearest hill of sand and pound it. Appreciate that, TJ. Probably attending to his family like a bum.
No, because I'm muted and I was talking. Your question is a good one because Queen to me fears no Ray. I don't know. I don't. So could you try to adjust anything? I will look to see what Fatal is doing and then try to see if I can make an adjustment. I like the GR 12% with the Xeris. That was a cool idea. That level 6 tied in with bulk and then added ton of health was nice. I can see the Cal, I guess, of whatever you're doing, but if you understand the kits and all that, I don't know where the disconnect may come from. Mm-hmm. So even on the Cal, I'm gonna lock everything down to where you're not gonna move around or move fast enough. The one thing that Cal really likes is extension to the fight. The more time he gets to play, the more time he's inspired, the more things seem to go happen, and then he's ramping his mastery. So if you don't let these things happen, they just fades away. But again, I will not say that Fatal is wrong, but I'm also not wrong. But Fatal is definitely right. That Lumicron is Wampa 2.0, and if you want to place the Wampacron, the Lumi felt good on offense for that offensive boost with the crit damage. It felt great. It felt like a lot of utilization they can go there. I just had to say I agree with Fatal that
Wait.
that Ray Lumi,
Lumicron, where on offense? Sorry?
just use it as Wampacron. You can place Wampacron. You can use Lumi. I faced all 3 times the Ray Lumi. I placed the Wampacron, so I took the Lumi as the new Wampacron with my Queen team, and it just
I see.
destroys that setup.
Okay.
Fatal was the one to call it when we were doing the in between. If it was Fatal, where he said, "I don't know why CG decided to place the Lumi text on the Wampacron, but this is where it's at." I tend to agree. It felt very solid for the Queen team. And I don't think the right one is Lumi. So I'm agreeing with Fatal going past this week now that ain't it. It ain't Lumi. Is it? Are we back to like OG Cal? Sure. I think if you can set it up, I think Cal or Xeris with the GR level 6. I think something else is there, but it ain't Lumi.
Okay. Well, guys, we have a couple more items here on this list to cover, and then we'll wrap things up. So let's move a little briefly through these last couple. 2 points here remaining. First one, stat attacks are back in vogue. Care to explain that one, Fatal?
I've already kind of touched on it across a variety of topics, but yeah, more and more. It almost feels a little bit deliberate by CG as well in some ways, of like, you got these crit avoidance crons that it's just like 75 crit avoid. What does that number mean? Well, the number means you go a crit avoid arrow, you maybe consider the R10, that margin pushes up, and then maybe you end up considering like a R10 on the attacker who's attacking them for the crit chance to negate it, and then you have to like get a Datacron with some crit chance to negate it. It's like, and it's not even just necessarily the crit avoids lines. I mean, we're talking about it on Ahsoka. It feels like it's happening on a wide variety of GL teams at the moment. It was definitely true in 5v5 as well. I would argue even more so than here, but it definitely, like, I'm kind of getting the old feelings back of just like, I am able to just build a hostile board full of like a wide variety of stat traps where it's just like, I'll take a counter and look at it and be like, okay, you're doing Great Brothers versus Ahsoka. How can we just sabotage that via mods? And I mean, for all I know, maybe that never went away and I was just ignorant, but it definitely feels like it has returned now that we're in kind of a lower power Datacron state, that a lot of matchups are just falling back on normal dynamics. Yeah, I don't know. It's been cool. I'm enjoying it.
All right. I appreciate that. Anything you have to expand on that thought, TJ?
I actually 100% agree. I think Fatal nailed it. I think that's exactly the game we're playing right now, because we don't have that. What Dagger's not here, but say explode. It's you are actually playing the team right now. It's not a 1,000,000% armor pen tying in. And I think if you want to put love and care into your modding again, which task you've been make mods great again your entire life, but it's like, this is the game we're playing right now. And I think doing your homework and looking at your opponent and seeing what their tendencies are, if they're not willing to go look, it isn't all things are created equal. And I believe you can come out with some big skates that would actually cause a full loss.
The last 5 weeks has been like shockingly mod intensive, and also it feels so fucking satisfying to like put in a couple hours getting your mods right and just like plotting and scheming title card drop, and then see people fight your teams and just like, this fucking Datacron, and it's like, nah man, that Datacron doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
This downfall was foretold.
I'm delighted to hear that. I mean, mods never left. And I don't know that that's a position that anybody here on this show would actually disagree with, regardless of the season. So glad to hear that, it's still making a difference. I've had a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to see if it produced results here this season. It's only this week that I'm having the opportunity to see if there's any legs to it. I will let you guys know. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you both. Last item here is Galactic Legends showing signs of life again. Fatal, what do you have to add on here that we have not already covered?
I guess now that I think about it, this is a little bit redundant with what I just said, but no, it's I mean, so I guess this we can kind of segue with the Marin change. I'm actually not that familiar with Afra versus Jabba in Theory 3. Are you guys familiar at all? How is that landscape? Is that an expected
I
win?
looked into the data on this. I'm very glad that you asked. Check this out. So, assuming that Jabba is running 25% turn meter, power for hire, you would want to run the same. That seems to have a consistently higher win rate. Next, you having a large chunk of defense seems to be a significant advantage for higher banners. I'm seeing crons that have crit damage and or armor penetration in addition to at least 150% defense plus, which is not a ton. But again, higher banners than not having some chunk, some more than accidental chunk of defense on it. That was getting it done. And, I know you're thinking, it's like, okay, fine, but is this against bullshit defense? It was against, I would say, as the highest I saw was about 300%. But again, the crons that I'm seeing the Afra teams use were also not especially offensively tuned. So I think with some middling amount of defense and then offense or crit damage, you've got a case. The defense was significant, though. I really can't say that enough, because anything that didn't have defense was either losing outright or finishing the fight -1 member, stuff like that. I think I had a patron tell me that they were able to get it done with just a solo Afra in the end, having the summon droids slap for an enormous amount. But if you're not running some chunk of defense, expect blood.
Yeah, all right. That's a pretty big blind spot for me, but it felt like Jabba has pretty decent positioning right now. Otherwise, it's just like either JMK pressure or the Afra question mark. Which is part of why I was interested in.
Do you have something pushing nigh on to 400% defense? Because if I did, I would still set that and be like, I absolutely dare you. I dare you. I dare you. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and after me. By all means, try.
Yeah.
I did post it.
We'll do the Wampa and take your risk of running.
I did post it, and it did have an Afra beat me this week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a mod issue. Like, I think my Baosh is very much on damage mod, so that could be a problem.
Do you have like 3 health? Well, do you have like at least 2 health primaries on Baosh, or like crit damage triangle, potency cross? I would assume, but something like that.
I have not given them a quality pass since the Marin times, so this could easily just be a player skill issue on my part.
Well, I'm seeing a Relic 9 Jabba, a Relic 10 Crescent, which I just did myself, so I can appreciate why you did that. But I'm seeing a Relic 8 Bausch, so I think you're definitely past time to give her some attention. Certainly Relic 9, I do think she's a worthwhile Relic 10, to be honest, but certainly a 9 in the near future I think you'd be well served by.
Oh, she is the what faction should this be called? She lives among Jedi Knight Revan as abysmal dogshit base armor. I'm looking at my Bausch's mods.
Yeah, but you can stack her health decently. Like, I want to say, I have health primary, arrow, circle, crit damage, triangle, and potency cross with a ton of offense on it. And I want to say, I'm 90+ thousand pushing right up onto right around 100,000. And that's with a 2-piece of potency, not even health. And that is Relic 10, though. I'm just saying, like, maybe that wouldn't matter for some of these fights that folks are using it to. Like, for example, this opponent used Slacker. I don't know how much difference a Relic 10 would make. But if you're looking to improve your edge cases, I think you've got a case there.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Something to think about. All right, guys, we actually covered the list that we built between us. Thank you both so much for embellishing our topic list this week, because really I had very little to offer myself. Hopefully I'll have more to bring us next week. Any other items that we had not otherwise explicitly mentioned that you wanted to cover before we go to the wrap-up? Going once. Going twice. All right, we're coming back around to takeaways and final thoughts. So, there's data. I am at my most powerful. I can see what my opponents prefer. I can look at the defenses that I might think to set this week and see how they perform based on week 1 data. Certainly, a few of my ideas that I was walking into week 2 to set have been disrupted by the conversation here. So I will be making some adjustments. I am excited just to actually play a real round for the first time in 3 weeks. So yeah, I'm just going to scout my opponent vigorously. He's one of the Phantom's Menace players. I think I've only fought him 1 time. If I've fought him twice, then I've lost both times. He is, like all of the Phantom's Menace players, very efficient. And you know, if you watch my streams, you know that it's in my heart and soul to try a little bit of experimentation, especially on the front wall. And that is usually very swiftly punished by these guys. So I'll try to restrain myself and actually go for the dub here this week. That's kind of all I have to say. How about you, TJ? Your takeaways and final thoughts going into week 2. Your summations on this episode.
Where to place my questions, I think, is going to be the big one. I did a couple more tweak moddings that I was looking at for my teams where I saw there might be room for improvement. So besides that care, I'm really looking for, can I create problems that, again, limit resources? I think people have mistaken or being a little just by the wayside by what you're trying to do. And I'm just going to go play this the same way. If you put some love and effort in, I think you'll get a lot more out of your defense and come away with, I guess, more of a slugfest on offense, too. Take the risk, put a little gamble in, and do a little bit of your homework. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Very good. Appreciate you. And of course, you know, Dagger and Sasha Aisha were not able to be with us, certainly here for the end of the show. So last but never least, we turn to Fatal. Your takeaways and final thoughts heading into week 2.
Yeah, it's I think the season is going to continue to feel weird to me just because I feel pretty strongly that, like, with how much people are holding, should easily be enough to be clear one-shotting, and my offense still feels very uncertain as I'm still trying to figure out some off-meta counters, has some stuff out, working on some blind spots. So at the very least, what I can say is that it's been a very fun season. I'm very excited for some of the stuff I am going to be debuting this week. Hopefully it works as well as it does in my HUD. And yeah, twitch.tv/playbooktv, youtube.com/theplaybook.
Very good. You beat me to the punch. Appreciate it. Of course, you know, thanks to both of you, Fatal and TJ. Likewise to Dagger and Sasha Aisha for generally making yourselves available. Of course, if you guys want to catch me here this week, the place to do it is twitch.tv/Tassenix. I also simulcast from my YouTube channel, Tassenix Gaming, where if you've not been there before, check it out. Whole bunch of Slugger-related content that I think you might be interested in. Anything that you do enjoy over there, please give it a like, hit subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitch, all fantastic ways to support the channel for free. If you want to go above and beyond the Call of Duty to support me, there are a few ways to do so. I do have a Cash App, that is $Tassenix. I do have a PayPal, that is tassenix@gmail.com. And if you're interested in getting some enhanced Grand Arena scouting power for yourself, early access to my content, including plotting and scheming, and a few other benefits besides, you may be interested in becoming a patron. Check out patreon.com/Tassenix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you. I've had a few patrons recently engage my services for Grand Arena and or mod coaching, and they've really kind of bullied me into making mention of that specifically. I otherwise only have it as like a one-line item here on this one slide. But yeah, they're happy, they love it, and if you're interested, reach out, let me know. Of course, if you want to enter the TAS House, you do it at the absolute minimum of $500. $500, oh my God, I'm tired, man. $5 a month at VIP access level, where you get an early access to the Plotting and Scheming show. That is coming out to our general audience Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern. But it is out for our patrons as early as Monday or Tuesday night, depending on when we sit down, giving you early insights going into that first round of the week. In addition, I will occasionally make the odd patron exclusive video that you'll have at least a month ahead of the general public. And of course, dedicated text and voice chat on Discord, where I am usually lurking, so pop on in and say hi. Thank you so much to all of my patrons here at VIP Access. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier is VIP Access Plus, where you get a bundled Patreon access to me and to your choice of either OmegaBot or Hot Utils Patreon for $10 a month. OmegaBot is that tool that I highlight at the start of all of my Grand Arena streams. It is the ones with the graphs that give you an easily understood sense of your offensive and defensive tendencies for every opponent. Any individual can use that for free to scout their opponent's last week of Grand Arena history, but only patrons can scout any number of weeks. You build out a downloadable custom report with embedded links that, when you click them, take you right back into Swagger.gg or Insight, with data pre-sorted, just helping you further minimize and focus your scouting efforts. Alternatively, you might go for the Hot Utils Patreon, aka Chili subscription, which is your #1 tool for mass mod management and loadout creation. Nothing else lets you switch so easily between your Grand Arena, TB, TW, and Raid mods. You can use it like TJ and Fatal do to comprehensively remod your roster with the powerful automation feature. You can slice through hundreds of mods in seconds, help out your guild in TW, and so much more. No wrong way to go at VIP Access Plus. Thank you to all of my patrons subscribed here. At the top of the list in VIP Access Premium, this is $15 a month for the Double Bot bundle. So Patreon access for me, OmegaBot, and Hot Utils all in one price. Going out and getting those two bots anywhere else costs as much as this triple bundle, which is why so many of my patrons say it's just one of the best values in the game. Thank you so much to all of my patrons subscribed here at VIP Access Premium. I know you guys enjoy the double bots. Here in Jester's Club Elite, for my very top supporters, first, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper, a madman who jumps into stream on occasion and just goes crazy, hands out hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, carries hype trains by himself, and so much more. There's nothing I can really say to thank Nomads for the incredibly generous support over the years, aside from, thank you, man. Likewise, to Pills, who will show up towards the end of some streams and just start handing out 10 gift subs here, 100 there. I never know quite what to expect, but it is always generous. It is always appreciated. Thank you, Pills. Special thanks first up to the Lost Womp Rat, who goes above and beyond the Call of Duty, not just for me, but for a variety of other Swagger content creators, helping us all out with our, streaming and related issues. Just recently, Stream Elements bit the dust, and he is helping all of us out one by one, fixing our integration, setting us up with new tools, helping us keep the show running smooth. So as always, Womp Rat, thank you for the time and attention. To Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all you do in the background, whether it's bringing me something to eat or drink while I'm live here on stream, or just keeping our daughter from tearing the house apart while I'm trying to be the very best, like no one ever was at a phone game. I appreciate you. And of course, to my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming, Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, as always, it is my pleasure and privilege to record our show every week. Despite the pressures of work, family, raising kittens, whatever your situation is, you guys show up for every episode, and I appreciate it. I learn every time we get together. Hopefully you guys feel the same, but it is not about us. It is about the viewers, the listeners tuning in, and they're letting us know, through comments, DMs, what have you, that our conversations are having an impact on their Grand Arena game. They're picking up tidbits from our conversations. They're applying them. It's helping them win the day. We are achieving what we wanted to when we started this show so many, 3+ years ago. And thank you guys for being a part of it. All this time, I would not change a thing. All right. Heading back over to the main scene, you have made it to the end of the episode. Hopefully you enjoyed. Lots I thought to pick up here, and of course, looking forward to applying it here in the coming days. As always, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.